We are recording the interview of Arthur Teran. This interview is being recorded by Ericka Carter from the Wright State University Veterans Voices Project. This interview is being recorded at the Holiday Inn, 2800 Presidential Drive in Dayton, Ohio. It is 2:57 p.m. on June 6, 2019. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I am good. How are you?
Doing fine, doing fine.
Wonderful. Where and when were you born?
Born in Detroit, Michigan in 1949.
Detroit?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. 1959.
49.
49.
49, yes.
Oh, okay. I was like Motown, but...
Motown Review, went to quite a few of those.
Oh, but you were just young when it came out. Okay. I'll calm down. I'm a little excited. Okay. All right. Who were your parents and what were their occupations?
My father's name was Arthur Teran. My mother's is Juanita. Her maiden name was Ibarra. And they were born, my father was born in Sulphur, Louisiana in 1924. And my mother was born in Port Arthur, Texas in 1926. And they met in high school in Port Arthur. My dad went to war during World War II with a B-17 gunner and flew 35 missions, I believe, and went up to Detroit, liked it there, and then came back to Port Arthur and married my mother, and they went up there, and here I am.
Okay. Did you have any other siblings?
Oh yes, I've got a brother, Victor, who was in the service also. He was Army, and he was stationed in Korea. My brother Louis is younger, and fortunately he didn't have to go in. And I've got one sister that's taking care of our mother in Georgia, and my other sister Maria had passed away.
Okay. So it was 4 siblings.
Yes.
Okay.
4 of us.
And your brother Victor?
Victor, yes.
Was in the Army.
Yes.
Not by choice, I take it?
No, he waited to be drafted.
Okay. And then ended up in the wrong branch?
No, he was happy where he was at.
Okay.
And he's living in Texas right now.
Okay, okay. And where do you live?
Live in Livonia, Michigan.
Michigan. So
Yes.
you back close to home.
Oh yes, yes.
Okay.
Had a job waiting for me. So as soon as I got out, went right to work.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about. I want to get back into Victor just a little bit. So he was in the Army at the same time you were in the Air Force?
Yes.
How
Yes.
much older or younger is Victor?
Victor is 2 years younger.
Okay.
Victor has Lou Gehrig disease right now.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
He, the VA's taking care of him, which I'm happy for. But
That is good.
He's doing the best he can, and his outlook in life is more than I would say would be me. He's happy, and he's doing as well as can be expected, and his wife Nancy is taking great care of him. So
Awesome.
he's doing good.
I really appreciate the VA here in Dayton.
Oh, VA in Ann Arbor, no complaints.
Okay, great. So your dad was World War II.
Yes.
With him being military, did you guys feel some obligation to serve? Or was it a...
Me, I think it was me, mostly. I volunteered before the draft came out for me to go. And I wanted the Air Force from day one. I just gravitated to it. And put 4 years in, came out as an E5, waited about 10 years, went back into the National Guard, and rose to E7, been to Panama, Fort Howard, been to Alaska, and good times.
Okay, that was a lot. So we're going to cover all of that, hopefully. all right, in our little time that we have together.
Okay.
So, but I'm gonna get us there.
No problem.
Is that fair?
That's fine, yes.
Okay, all right. So, what were you doing before you entered the service? I'm gonna assume high school.
Yes, graduated in '67
Okay.
and went to AT&T
To work?
to work at AT&T Western Electric and worked in their cable yard and then went into the service.
Okay. So you went to work with a high school diploma at AT&T.
Yes.
Did you not need more?
Not back then.
No. Okay.
Not back then.
What was your pay? Do you remember?
Pay was $2.49 an hour.
Was that mediocre or
That
great?
was okay. Bring home maybe $99 a week, but also got to take into consideration gas was maybe 19 cents a gallon. You can buy a car for maybe $2,800 brand new. So
In the Motor City.
yes, so everything was fine. Everything was good.
Okay.
And
Okay. Were you still living at home?
oh yes,
Okay. You did that for a little bit. What did you do in high school? Did you have any? Were you in any sports? Any
no,
decathlons?
it was mostly vocational.
Okay.
Electronics, shop mat, physical science, then the regular English, and other courses. Like we had to take gym and other vocational type classes.
Okay, by choice, or that
By
was the
choice.
type of school. Okay.
Yeah, by choice, because the other ones would have college prep.
Mm-hmm.
Others would have business. Like back then, it would be shorthand, typing, things of that nature.
Okay. Thank you for answering that. Okay, so now jump ahead. You had enough of AT&T, or you were just ready to get started in a career? Why did you join the military at that point?
Well, I knew I was going to get drafted.
Oh, okay.
I knew that was coming.
All right. So I'm ahead of the game.
I wanted to go to what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't feel like going in the Army. I wanted the Air Force. Well, people would say, Army chow, not that great. Air Force chow, Navy chow, we're talking good food.
Okay.
So I wanted the Air Force. See what I could come out with.
All right. So you go into Air Force Basic. Where do you serve that at?
Basic was at Lackland Air Force Base.
Mm-hmm.
That was in August to October. In October, August 19th to October 3rd. And then from there, I had a 30-day leave, I believe it was, 20-day or something like that, because my orders were to go to Francis E. Warren Air Force Base in Cheyenne, Wyoming. So I went there and lived in the barracks, and I was base police, main gate.
Is that a job you chose, or they chose for you?
They chose for me.
And
They said, we need security police. So quite a few of the people in my group were in security police. And then for some reason, I didn't go to tech school. They probably figured he might be someone who can send out to the field. So that's where I went. I went straight to Francis E. Warren as a no formal training whatsoever. And then went through what do you call the books, and then made a 3-level, and then from there I made a 5-level.
I don't understand.
That's your 3-level is just basic education in your security field. 5-level is a intermediate education in your career field. And then a 7 level is advanced military training in your career field. So I made it to E5. Excuse me, not E5, but 5 level. And then
How long did that take?
that took, I would say, they really pushed me. I think I made it in about 6-7 months.
How did you feel about that?
It was part of the job. You had, do what you have to do.
Were other people being as successful as you?
That I couldn't tell because they were already 3 levels when they came from tech school. So they had to do just 5 level, where I had to start at the bottom and then progress up to 5 level. So I had to take
You had to work twice as hard.
courses, hit the books and take quizzes and all that other information that I had to put in.
Okay. So you make 5 level, you make 7 level.
No, not 7 level. I just
Okay.
made it to 5 level in
5
the
level.
active service.
Okay. When do you start doing your job?
I was doing it.
All the while?
All the while I was doing it. I was doing the gate guard, and once in a while, a couple times, they would come and knock on the door and say, you got to go and go out to a missile site and put BDUs on, not BDUs, but the greens, and whatever I needed, a Parker or field jacket, and head out on a Huey to go and to a missile site. So they used me mostly as backfill.
How were you adjusting to military life at that point?
It didn't bother me at all. It was something you had to do.
So my daughter, both her parents, her dad was a drill sergeant. I was, in the military too. Our house is kind of run that way.
Mm-hmm.
So when she joins, it's going to be like Tuesday morning, Wednesday morning to her, I imagine. Was it kind of like that for you? Or was it a little different?
No, it was something that I chose the branch of service, and something that I had to do.
Okay.
It does nothing, in other words, I wasn't forced into it. I volunteered. So
I mean, like the organization, keeping your clothes in a certain order, or that's kind of like...
that was hard to adjust to
Okay.
begin with, but I wasn't by myself.
Okay.
There were 50 other guys doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there was 50, could be less, that were doing the same thing I was doing. So we were all in the same boat, and we all volunteered. So we did what we had to do.
Was any of your colleagues or other airmen upset that they had to be there,
No.
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 Okay.
None of them were upset. Everybody knew that it was either the Air Force or the Army.
Okay.
So out of the 2 branches or 3 branches, Navy, and everybody said, I'd rather be here than in the Army. Sorry to say that, but that's how things were, because everybody knew where they were going to go when you were in the Army.
I take no offense.
Because, I mean, Vietnam. Everybody knew you were going to Vietnam.
Okay.
And a bunch of the guys that I grew up with, and when I was in high school, going to high school, were the older guys were going in the Army, being drafted, going to Vietnam.
Okay.
So.
So your first duty station, no tech school. How long were you there?
I was there from October to October of '69 to, I take it back, October of '68 to December, I believe it is, and then November, beginning of December of '69, And then I went to a course they called AZR school at Lackland Air Force Base, where we had weapons training with the M60, the M79 grenade launcher, the M16, the 38 were the main weapons, and they would just do the those flashbang units they would throw out at you and show you how to communicate with someone, not to be shook up when things would go off and things of that nature. Plus, they throw you with a gas mask and all that stuff that they think you're going to see when you go to Vietnam or Thailand or whatever.
Sounds like Army training.
It does, don't it?
I trained on all of that.
That's what they did.
How long was that training?
That was, I believe, maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I can't remember for sure.
Okay.
But there'd be two of us to a room, and going from a full-size bed to a single bed, I must have hit that wall 8, 10 times a night. Roll, boom, hit the wall. But from there, went back home to Detroit, and then flew out from home to Travis Air Force Base. Then from there, went to Hawaii, Guam, the Philippines, Clarksfield, Philippines, and then Bangkok, Dang Mang Air Force Base. Spent the night there, and then took a C-47 to NKP, Thailand.
When you found out you were headed to Thailand, how'd that make you feel?
It was someplace, it was better than Vietnam. And the weird part about it is, they showed us bases where people in our group were going to, Cam Ranh Bay, Tan Son Nhut, Dang Mang, all these bases. They were showing pictures, Utapao, and then when it showed Non-Comp Phnom Thailand, or NKP, it came across, top secret. And you're going, where am I going? Where everybody's seeing their bases, and mine at the bottom said, top secret. And that was it. And then it went to another base. So you're going, where am I going? So.
How did your parents feel about?
Well, they knew it was going to happen. Mm-hmm. I mean, my mom was upset. My dad took it in stride. And, well, all my cousins were going or have been over there. I got a cousin Dan, he went Vietnam. A cousin John went to Vietnam. Cousin Bobby Silva went to Vietnam. And then my cousin Tommy went to Vietnam and didn't come back. He was reported missing May 6th of 1970. And they didn't find his remains until, I think, 96. And he's buried in Arlington Cemetery with whatever they found, which wasn't very much, I understand. But he's home.
That's good. We always want to bring our soldiers home.
Oh yes, he's home. We were only 4 days apart. I was born May 4th, he was born May 8th.
Was your brother already overseas when you were headed that way, or not?
No, Victor was over there in 71, I believe, in Korea. And he did 2 tours overseas. And he came home and then he went back again.
Were you ever deployed at the same time?
No, I was stateside. I just spent my 13 months in Thailand, and then came home. And, when I was in Thailand, a buddy of mine, who's one of my roommates, it was 4 of us to a hooch, found out that I was going to Siskiyou County Airport in California. And I'm from Michigan. We were the same. We were both E4s. We both had the same AFSC, which was a 5 level, but he was going to Kinchlow in Michigan, and he knew I was from Michigan. And he come over and says, "Can we switch?" And I said, "Sure." I didn't want to go to, let's go on halfway across the country. I said, "Yeah, I'll switch." So we went, saw the admin, he flip-flopped the orders. I go to Kinchlow, and then some guys that I knew that were at NKP with me, guy's name was Wonka. He comes over and says, in Kinchlow, because he's looking for recruits to go to Offutt, be part of SAC. He wanted to know if I wanted to re-enlist, and I didn't want to. I was getting out. And I says, "Any word on Moran?" And he goes, "You didn't hear?" And I go, "What?" He goes, "Moran went to Siskiyou County Airport, went in, gave him his paperwork at the orderly room. They said, 'Oh, you got a change of orders.'" He went to Minot Air Force Base. That's up in the Dakotas. You know what? I believe what they said. The saying was, "There's a girl behind every tree, but there's no trees." So he was not a happy camper. So that's what happened to him. So I was just fortunate enough not to have to go out there and then turn around and come back. But I enjoyed myself time in Kinchlow. It was good times.
Okay, so I think we kind of shifted gears a little bit. I want to shift
Go back. Okay.
Okay. So what I wanted to ask you was, how did you communicate with home when you were in Thailand?
They had a shortwave radio thing called Mars, M-A-R-S, Mars station. And you would go there. I would go there at night before my shift, and I would call home, and they would patch me into someone at, let's say, Washington or Colorado, someone on a Mars, and they would call home. And then my sister one time picked the phone up and said, "Artie's on the line," and everybody's going, "No, no, what do you mean? What do you mean? On the line." And then my wife went and was talking to me, and we have to say, "Over." "How you doing?" "Over." And she would have to talk, "Doing great. How are you doing?" "Over." And we'd go back and forth. I must have called twice, I think 2 or 3 times.
Other than that, did you write letters?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Wrote letters.
Okay, so when did you get a wife? We didn't talk about it.
Oh!
I thought you was a single man.
Oh,
when did you get a wife?
In January of '69.
Okay, where'd you meet her?
Oh, went to high school together.
Okay, so you married her somewhere in AT&T time, or?
Oh, well, no, military.
Okay.
I was, in January of '69, we got married,
Okay.
and her mother was quite ill. So we got married. Her mother, we go back to Francis E. Warren, and then we were there maybe 2 or 3 days, and she got the phone call that her mother was in serious health issues, and she copped the plane and went back to be with her mother until the end. And then I got called into the commander's office. They let me know that that my mother-in-law passed away, and it's up to you, but you can go home on emergency leave, or you can stay here and get your 5 level. It's up to you, but I would get a 5 level. It's up to you. What do you think about getting your? And I'll stay.
Okay.
So.
Okay. All right. So you land at the super secret level site.
Yes.
Okay. What's your first impression?
It's hot. it's hot, and it's hot and it's dusty.
Can you explain the kind of hot? Because
It's like a humid hot, because once the sun goes down, it's cold. In other words, it's 70 degrees, but you're cold. You got your hands in your pocket. You got your fatigue jacket up over your neck. You're cold. You're going, what the heck did I get into? But then after a while, things change. It starts to rain. The monsoon comes. Not only are you cold, but you're wet. And they say, we don't have enough ponchos, but we do have a rifle cover for you to keep your rifle dry. So you go, okay, I'm wet, cold, but the rifle's dry.
so can you tell me about, tell me what an average day of work was like?
You would go to guard mount. I was in Bravo sector, and they tell you whether if you're going to be in a bunker or you're going to be in the tower with a scope, night scope. And then you go out there, and if you're in the tower, you go up there, you hook up your night scope, and then you do your surveillance going back and forth. And then in the morning, the truck would show up, and you look out, and you're going, where did the flares go, and what happened to the concertina? The natives would come up, the Thais would come up, take all the wire and the flares, and you're looking at open field. And aren't you looking? Yes, I was looking. I didn't see them come through. And they said, don't worry about it. We've been through it. They come once, twice a month, and they'll just take the concertina wire for something they don't know, but they take the concertina wire. And then you find the flares all bunched up in a pile outside the gate. So that was it there. And then the longer I was there, the more I kind of moved up until we had a Master Sergeant Howell. He was our flight commander. And we called ourselves, because he came in from tech school, and we called ourselves Howell's Heroes. And I enjoyed myself. I like to have fun. And I knew he was going to have, he always goes through and checks boots, hats, make sure everything was there. So I had my guys spread out, you know, for inspection. In other words, instead of saying attention 2 or 3 steps forward or whatever, I already had them spaced. So he would come out and he would look, and he already see I already had my guys spaced out, dress right dress, and all set to go. And he goes, you're having fun, aren't you, Teran? I said, I'm having a good time. Okay. He goes, I want to put you on a quick reaction mobility team. That's where I drove a V100, an armored car. I said, oh, okay. He said, I want to put you on that, see how much fun you have. So I said, okay. So we got in that, and I drove around the perimeter in that. We were laughing and joking with all the guys in the unit, and come back, and then a month or 2 later, well, how'd you like being on that mobility? I said, I enjoyed myself. Really had fun, huh? And I go, oh yeah. Well, guess what? You're in charge of the flight line, of B sector, and the perimeter. See how much fun you have there. I said, okay. So gave me a chance to talk to everybody. So I had a good time. So it was, I got to make the most of it. If you sit there and pout and everything else, time just drags, especially at night. But I had a lot of good times.
Were you ever able to go out into the cities?
Oh yeah.
Okay. You ever buy anything nice for your wife?
Oh yeah, I bought her a teak wood jewelry case, and brought that home to her. I bought a back then a what do you call those, Polaroid cameras, and that didn't last long. It broke or whatever, and I took it back, and they said, okay, well, you didn't have that long, and they said it was a defect. So I got myself a Yashica camera, and I took pictures with it when I was there in Thailand, and unfortunately I left it home, the pictures. But it was good. We used it quite a bit when I got home.
That's lovely, lovely. I bought this, two things. I bought these beautiful scarves that were hand drawn on, and then I put one into a frame, and I had Michael's do it all up, and so I still have it, and I hang it. It's got beautiful fish on it, and the other one I just wear occasionally, like I'm royalty or whatever, flinged over me. So I love my little
nice.
Thailand scarves. I think I'm so special.
You should feel that way.
Yeah, it's beautiful, beautiful items if you get a chance to go over. I didn't enjoy my time in Thailand, but I did enjoy some of the things I bought.
No, good.
Anyway, back to you. So
Okay.
You had a good time despite others trying to bring you down.
Oh yeah, it's fun. I mean, you joke with them like.
And they treat, when you are good to your, I want to say, airmen, they are good to you.
Oh yeah, good to your people, they're good to you.
Okay.
And I always had a good time. I mean, if anything would go wrong, like we had one of my guys got the armored car stuck, the B-100 stuck, and he got into a ditch. So we got it out. They knew about it, the command center knew about it. So I took the brunt of it. I'm in charge, I take the brunt of it. So you're gonna wash this. I said, okay, no problem. So right after our shift was over with, I was washing the B-100 out, got all the mud out. No problem. And then the guy who got it stuck come over. I said, you want to talk? No, go have breakfast, whatever. I'll take care of this. Not much. So
I bet he remembers you to this day.
I was hoping to see these guys here. There was one guy I wanted to see, Paul Montez, but he didn't make it up. And then he's from San Antonio. But another friend of mine, Paul Rondina, he's here. And we were together in Thailand, and we were together up at Kinchlow together. So, and I see him once in a while. We get together once in a while. Good guy. Him and his wife. His wife I went to school with. So, yeah, it was good. Sandy, nice lady.
Wonderful. So you wrap up your time. Do you ever see any combat or have to go over? So you held down Thailand. You had a pretty awesome time.
Yes.
Because you're an MP. That's what you do. Security.
Right. Security
of your current location.
Correct.
All right. Time to go. You served your time. Your wife is grateful, happy. You come home.
Right. Go home and then go back to work. Worked until 1984, 85.
Well, no. What do you mean you go back to work?
Well, I was working from 72 to 84.
In the military?
No.
Okay. So when you returned to the United States, you
went to Kinchlow.
ETS.
No, went to Kinchlow.
Okay.
Because I didn't get out until 72. I came back home in 71.
Okay.
Came
You had
back
a year
in 72.
left. Okay.
And then from August 19th, or in fact, I worked the 21st of August, whatever, I went back to AT&T. And then in 1984, I went to Michigan Bell. Transferred over to Michigan Bell Telephone Company in 1984.
Did AT&T hold your job?
AT&T held my job.
Oh, because they had to.
Right.
Okay.
And In
Were they paying you more than $284 at this point?
yes, they were.
Okay.
And then in '84, when AT&T broke up, I went and transferred over to Michigan Bell. And
Which is an electric company.
it's a telephone company,
Okay.
like Ohio Bell and
I'm from
I'm
California. But
California,
Okay, great.
Pacific Bell,
okay.
and was working for AT&T. At the same time, well, I'll take that back. In '83, I was thinking about joining the National Guard, which I did. We talked about it. Go ahead, join the National Guard. And they were paying a couple $100 a weekend or whatever. And I finished. That was another reason I wanted to go back in, because didn't know about health insurance. How was that going to affect us? And things like that. And with the National Guard, found out that the Army, what's that, MWR? Is that the MWR, for
Recreation?
recreation?
Uh-huh.
Opened up Disney World. Opened up Disney World. So once we got ourselves financially stable, we started going to Florida, going to Orlando, Disney World. And grandkids and everything else, and everybody was having a good time.
What? You didn't tell me about the kids. How many children?
4. 2 boys, twin girls.
And when did they come along? Was it in between deployments or?
Okay, the oldest boy, Art, came in July of '69. Before I left, I missed his walking and missed everything,
Okay.
all that.
Okay.
When I got back in '71,
So he's the third.
Arthur Teran,
Okay.
and born on July 4th. So for a while there, he thought everybody was celebrating his birthday with fireworks.
Mm-hmm.
And then my youngest boy, Scott, came along in March of '72.
Okay.
And then that was up at Sault Ste. Marie. So he was a Youper, Upper Peninsula.
Okay.
They call them Youpers. And then I've got twin girls, Amy and Elena. They are from 1976, and I wasn't in the service at that time.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay.
And I've got 8 grandkids.
Wonderful.
And
They're going to be so proud when they see this.
my oldest boy's going to be 50 this year. But he's also he's a retiree
Oh.
with the Guard.
Congratulations.
And he was Desert Shield, Desert Storm. He's been over there twice. So he's got that under his belt. And
Your family has a legacy.
and I've got a nephew, Aaron. He's was also Air Force, and he was a loadmaster in Afghanistan. So C-130. So he did his 4 years. He's a fireman now in Houston. So everything's good. We all did our job.
Protecting the country. We appreciate
Oh,
that
yes.
greatly. We really do.
But you can't beat TRICARE. You can't beat that. I mean, my wife had back surgery. They took care of that. And I mean, they took care of that. They took care of the rehab. No complaints. No complaints.
Okay, so that was your kind of ideal for joining the Guard.
Right.
Have you ever used any other benefits?
The commissary. You would use the commissary and the BX.
Home loans or school
No.
benefits?
No,
But they are available, right?
they are available.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, 70. No school. No school. Not at 70.
Okay.
The house is paid for, so.
Okay.
But it's all been good. I mean, when I joined the Guard in '83, been to Panama, Fort
Okay.
Howard. That was an experience.
Tell me about Panama.
Panama, We were there for the for to protect U.S. from the drugs. The F-16s would fly and turn back whoever's flying, whatever, in the air. And at the same time, while I was there, we were able to see the U-2s come in and take off. And that was fun, watching them fly in and fly out.
Okay.
And
How long were you there?
we were there for about 3 weeks.
Okay.
Because you can only have 200 permanent party, I believe it is. The rest have to be TDY. That was according to the contract or the agreement they had with the Panamanians. And it was a good experience. We got a bunch of llama blankets that brought back, and some other little trinkets, little jewelry for the wife and the daughters, things like that. So, which was nice. And then went to, and then that was in, I think 91, 92. And then in 96 went to Elmendorf in Alaska. And that was another exciting trip. I mean, it was, you could see how people live, and went to Earthquake Park.
In Alaska?
In Alaska, yeah, that's Anchorage.
What were you, I can't imagine what you were doing up there. I know we have a
Backfilling.
base, right?
Backfilling
Yeah. Okay.
for other units
Okay.
that are there.
Mm-hmm.
And Earthquake Park, that's where they had that earthquake in the 60s,
Mhm.
61, where the houses were just engulfed.
Oh my.
And the only thing you see there are just the chimneys and pieces of the roof sticking out. And then you get the local moose reports or bear reports saying there was a bear found in a dumpster tearing it apart, and there's a moose walking down the middle of the road. And then watch them doing combat fishing on the river there, going into through Anchorage, and went and saw a glacier and had a nice trip. My son was also there with me, so it was a nice trip for both of us.
In the same unit?
Same unit.
Oh. Wow.
We were in the same unit, and fortunate enough to go there. And it's a long ride in the C-130, but we made it. But it was a good trip. Good trip.
Okay. Anywhere else?
No, that was it. Usually it was going to a tech school to get refresher course in Minneapolis, and then pool time for quite a while as the first sergeant, and that was about it. Went to Charleston Air Force Base for a couple of weeks and things like that, and go up to Alpena to do training, but that was about it.
Are there any funny stories or any stories you feel you can tell me that you want to? Or
There's not too many. The funniest one I thought of was the one that about Howell's Heroes, and there was some other things going on, like Paul Rodina was coming by and saying, "I go home tomorrow, guys." He's going back to the States, and he says, "I'm taking these camis with me." So we decided to tackle them in the mud and get them all mudded up and things like that. We were talking about that a little while ago. And he goes, "Yeah," he goes, "I was all set, had the BD, my camis ready to go, and you guys decided to have football." And it was during the monsoon, so
oh my.
we had a good time. A lot of laughs.
Are you a member of any veterans organizations?
Not really. I mean, the only ones I like would be like the Agent Orange group that I keep in contact with on the internet, and the NKP group that I'm here with, and they also have one for the security police. And then there's a group, it's not a big group, but there's a group for Kinchlow Air Force Base. And that's about it. I mean, usually the guys from Kinchlow are the ones that are there from the part when they closed it down, I would say 75, 76, something like in that area. Not too many from when I was there in 71, 72.
What are some life lessons that you have learned from your military service?
Oh, when you get a job, you complete it. If somebody says, go out there and take care of this, this, and this, you go out there and you take care of it. You don't sit and hum and haw and I'll take care of it later. You just go out and do your job. That's how we were taught, and that's one of the things I liked about having the draft or being in the service. You got a job, you do it. Because nowadays, they just, I'll do it later, or I don't want to do it. Nobody has any commitment to get the job done. And I'm sorry to say, it's not just me talking, a lot of people have talked about that. I mean, you know who was in the military or had any military background. You get a job, you go out and you do it. You don't sit there and cry about it. You just get the job done. Hey, that's part of it. That's part of life.
I agree so much.
And if it wasn't for the military, they wouldn't be having all these freedoms of speech and going around saying things and then get arrested for it. Because in Thailand, when I was there, spending time in Bangkok one night, there was a shooting. Thai police went out there to stop a demonstration by the college kids, and because they were saying something about the king, and then they shot them. No questions. Shoot them. And then we're looking out there going, what the heck's going on? And the owner of the hotel bar said, oh, Buddha didn't protect him. That was his answer. He turned around and went back to his bar. Buddha didn't protect him. I'm going, okay. What can you say?
Is there anything that you feel we haven't discussed or should be added to this interview?
Not that I know of. We're talking 50 years ago here.
Well, is there anything that happened recently that you'd like to discuss?
No. Just happy to make it here for this reunion.
Okay, I'm very happy you made it too.
I just decided to do this interview about 2 hours ago, 3 hours ago.
Well, thank you.
I mean, they said talked about it. Okay, I'll do it.
All right.
But I got to go and see if I got those ribbons, because I had 15 of them, I believe.
Okay.
And I can't remember them all.
That's okay too.
I can't.
That's okay too.
Because I got out in '99. I mean, 23 years. I mean,
That's pretty awesome.
I can't remember everything.
What message would you like to leave for future generations that will view or hear this interview?
Hopefully, we don't have a conflict like we had in Vietnam. Desert Shield, Desert Storm, Grenada, that you don't have to send yourself or any of your children over. It's hard, especially if someone you know and love does not come back. Just hope that we don't have this anymore.
Would be nice. That concludes our interview with Arthur Teran. Thank you for your time today and for your 23 years of military service.
Thank you.